Well, it seems like the folks over at INS Hobby were able to, at least in part, secure inventory to fulfill their Burning Godzilla battle version from Hiya Toys orders. And we'll talk a little bit about the orders that fell through the cracks toward the end of the video. But a couple of weeks ago, I put up a video talking about this figure and how it appeared that it was going to be exclusive to the Wonderfest Shanghai venue over in China, that you actually had to be there to pick up the figure. But in that video, I mentioned that INS Hobby was one retailer that said that they were going to be able to sell the figure, and that maybe it was just best to wait, and maybe it would show up at places like KaijuCanuck or Cool Toys Club. Well, in that time, Hiya Toys kept posting on Weibo more and more information, but none of it really clarified whether or not this figure was going to be available after the fact. And so I had emailed INS Hobby, asked them, hey, what's the deal? And they said, don't worry about it. Well, as more stuff was coming out, I emailed them again last week and said, hey, I know you told me not to worry about it, but I'm kind of worried about it because, you know, we're working together. A lot of my viewers are banking on the fact that you're going to be able to fulfill these orders and get this product in stock. So I'm just double checking, is everything going to be okay? And they were like, yeah, we know, don't worry about it. You know, we're going to maybe limit it to one per person, but we're not that worried about it. So it's okay. And I've gotten confirmation from a handful of folks now that their Burning Godzilla has shipped. So I like to think that the people at INS Hobby just repeatedly went up to the table at the event wearing more and more like ridiculous disguises to get some of these units for sale. But yeah, it does seem like people are getting these shipped to them, and it is on the way. So here's the figure here. You think in normal lighting doesn't really come across quite that translucent, but here the edges of the spines, you can really see that burned deco. I mean, the first Burning Godzilla looked great, and this one I think looks strictly better. I think this one is the definitive Burning Godzilla from Legendary. It's a shame that this has been limited to the event as far as we know for now, but it does look pretty good for the folks that were able to get it. There's another close-up of the box with the big old exclusive sticker on it, so it seems like they're really sticking to it there. Now, some of my viewers were leaving comments saying that INS Hobby canceled my pre-order without giving me a chance to pay. So it does seem like some of the orders slipped through the cracks a little bit. This person here, there was another person who mentioned that they got the email to pay the invoice while they were asleep, and then by the time they woke up, they received another email that said the order was canceled. So I don't know how they're fulfilling and allocating stock to specific orders. Like, I know some folks who ordered way after everyone else did that got their order shipped. And then this was a response that somebody on the Kaiju Collector group, I think it was Weebster, received from INS Hobby saying, some accidental trouble happened and actual quantity we received is lower than we ordered. We are still finding more stock of this figure. Once arrived, we will arrange shipment to you. Sorry about this. So it seems like somehow they're trying to get more units. I like this wording here, some accidental trouble. Like, oh, they saw through one of the silly disguises that you had. But it does seem like they're making an effort to try and get more units of this to fulfill some of the orders that had come through that ended up slipping through the cracks. So keep an eye on the webpage. I believe there is an inventory restock notification here. You know, if this is something that you feel like you need to have, please make use of this. And then, of course, there's always the potential that in the future we may see this figure reissued with a slightly different means of you know, release. Like, maybe it'll come out and it won't have the Ghidorah parts or the alternate hands. He comes with the same hands that Energized Godzilla had. Not quite the fists, but like the clenched hands. But you know, Harold over at Figure Mania Show reached out to Hiya Toys and asked for a review sample, and they said, we're not going to do review samples because we want to respect the exclusive nature of this release. I think it could go either way at this point. To me, Hiya Toys up to this point has been rather good and transparent with folks, and responsive to what people are asking for. Like, they were super quick to address the issues with that first Godzilla figure they did, which is actually still my favorite Godzilla figure they've done. And so if there's enough demand and enough noise for this figure, I can't imagine that they will leave it locked behind a venue exclusive. But I do think that if they do release this version, there will be significant changes. I wouldn't expect these pieces to be included. Maybe the hands will get nixed too. But it sounds to me, based on what they've said to Herald, that they really, really want to respect the nature of this release being a venue exclusive. So, you know, we don't know anything, and there are plenty of companies that release event exclusives without reissuing them down the line if they don't feel like they're essential representations of the characters, or even if they do feel like they're essential representations. There are lots of companies that just, like, they don't care, right? Like Mondo, I think, is one of these companies that will never reissue a variant no matter how much demand there is for it. So yeah, that's all we know, I guess, at this point. So for the folks who got their orders in and it has shipped, you can expect your packages within the next couple of weeks. For those who were like this person where INS canceled the order, I'm sorry that happened, but it seems like they're working on it, and definitely email them for just to, you know, put it on their radar that it's something that you're still interested in. And yeah, I guess before I end the video, I just want to pay a huge shout out to the folks over at INS Hobby for actually going to the event and securing the units that they have. You know, power to them. I was very concerned that this was not going to happen, just because they put up the listing before we even knew the nature of the release, but sure enough, they did. So, yeah, major shout out. Thank you to the folks over at INS Hobby for providing a means for customers to get this figure. And also shout out to the content creator who felt the need to dedicate a whole video to correcting the record on what I was saying in my last video, when I was saying that, hey, it looks like a venue exclusive, but it might be available through other means. Yeah, I guess when you don't watch the last 2 minutes of a 6-minute video, you might not get a whole picture and feel the need to make a needless video. So yeah, shout out to you, man. Anyway, enjoy the rest of your Friday. Have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you again soon. See ya.